I have started the recording, Bill.
Okay.
Make sure I don't miss that. And okay, we're at 22. We'll give another couple minutes
Okay.
before we start. Beautiful day in Raleigh.
Let me share my screen, Greg. Can you help me with that?
Do you want me to put your slides up or just?
Well, I have them.
Okay. You should
but it won't let me. It's telling me I can't share my screen.
Okay.
If you make me a co-host or something, it'll let me do it.
That's sharing options, one at a time. Try now.
All right, let's see here. Ah, there you go. Good job.
Okay.
You did it. All right, fantastic. So does everyone see the slide? It says keeping the Toastmasters promise. Do we all have that? Once we know we have that, then we know we're good to go.
Yes.
All right. Fantastic.
Good. Okay, well, we have 22 people. Why don't we get started? My name is Greg Nepley, and I'm the moderator for this presentation. Bill Marlow is our presenter today. Bill, as a distinguished Toastmaster, is past District 37 Director for the 2018-2019 Toastmaster year. Today, Bill is celebrating his 11th anniversary as a Toastmaster. So applause for Bill. Congratulations. Bill believes that the ongoing training and development at all levels of our district is essential for putting our members in a position to maximize the Toastmasters education program. Bill is currently serving District 117 as the club extension chair, as well as editor of the monthly newsletter Pathfinder. Bill's title today is How to Keep the Toastmaster Promise While Meeting Virtually. Meeting virtually. Now, if you have questions or comments during the presentation, please place them in the chat, and then Bill will attempt to answer them or comment on them at the end. And of course, we'll also give you an opportunity to raise your hand to ask any questions. So without any further activity, I'll introduce Bill Marlow, How to Keep the Toastmasters Promise While Meeting Virtually. Bill.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg. Good to see everybody this morning. I miss seeing everybody. It's been a year. So hopefully soon we're going to be back to some semblance of whatever the new normal is and we can see one another again. I planned it so that my 11-year anniversary would happen today. That's pretty cool, right? 11 years. It's gone by pretty fast in some ways. I got a bit of a reputation when I was in the trio of being all about the Toastmasters promise, which makes me feel good that 2 years later, people still say, hey, you talk about that Toastmasters promise thing. At least some people it resonated with. So that's really encouraging. The goal here today is to give you an overview of what this thing is, but also to understand the way in which it applies to everything that you do in your club. What I found when I was in leadership is, unfortunately, not nearly enough of our members and clubs really embrace this. And if you'd move towards that, I think you might be amazed at some of the things that could happen as a result. Now my slide's not changing. Okay, what's the story with that? There we go. Okay. So this is the Toastmasters promise. So when you first see it, if you've probably seen it in this format before, it's like, that's a lot of stuff. And it's really not. It's 10. But when you look at it like that, it's too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down each one of them as we go. In the event that you weren't aware, Keeping the Commitment is a module in the Successful Club series, and you see what it says there. It discusses the 10 standards that make up the Toastmasters promise. So that's something that you could utilize to do a presentation in your club, in your area and division, to bring people up to speed on what this is and how they can leverage that for their club. So the word promise, what does it mean? I went out and found 3 different definitions. The first one, a declaration that something will or will not be done, given, etc. by one. An express assurance on which expectation is to be based. Something that has the effect of an express assurance, indication of what may be expected. So that's the mindset that we have when we think about a promise, right? As a member of Toastmasters International and my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly. Participation is key. If you don't participate, if your members aren't there, they can't get better. They can't receive that feedback that they know they're going to need to get better and improve themselves. All the meeting roles provide a platform for our members, whether you're speaking or evaluating. That's a way for you to support one another in the meetings and impress. Think about this. Make a good impression on your members. When a guest comes in the door or a relatively new member and they come in and there's a room full of people, there's a certain energy that comes from that can't be replicated by just a handful of people. So a good number of people in the room gives it some energy and some engagement that impresses a guest or encourages a brand new member. To prepare all of my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program. Don't wing it. Who here has done that before? I will admit that I have done it. It's not the thing to do. Okay, because you're not going to do your best. It doesn't matter how good a speaker you are, how long you've been in Toastmasters, or how many projects you've done. If you just show up and try to start talking off the top of your head, it's not going to be as nearly as good as it could be if you planned it out. So don't wing it. Don't fall victim to doing that. Prepare. When you plan, it yields results. When you plan your speech project, it's going to be more effective, without question. And then example. When you think about when you see other people in your club and they deliver a great speech project, not only is it a great speech, but it's a great speech for the projects. In other words, it meets the project requirements. That's an example that they put time in and planned it. And it really encourages other people when they see that that's the way it's to be done. So that's a way to be a great example to the people in your club. To fulfill or to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments. You ever have those members that there's certain meeting roles that they want to do and there's others that they don't like to do? Well, here's the challenge with that. We as members and as leadership in our clubs, we can't let them do that. Because if there's one role that they don't want to do or isn't part of our commitment to them to get them to grow in that area. So if we let them skirt that role and never do it, we're not really living up to our commitment to them. So understand that every meeting role is important and every meeting role is important for all of the members to participate in. That gets lost at times. And the commitment, the meeting roles are the backbone of a Toastmasters meeting. That's the infrastructure of the meeting. So if you think about it, why would someone say, well, I only want to learn how to do part of that? We have to decide as a club that no, that's not how we do it. We all do everything. So we can all support the club and we can all be proficient in all the things that it takes to run our club. And best, make doing your best your calling card. Think about people in your club, you know, that they bring it every time, every speech, every meeting role, every evaluation. They're always 5 minutes early. That's their default. Don't you want to be like that? And don't you want to make the impression on other people that they're making on you? Provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations. I believe that effective evaluations, to do that consistently, is far and away the most difficult thing to do because you have such a short period of time. You hear it all and you have to quickly put your thoughts together and stand up and somehow sound coherent and give great feedback to the member. That's the expectation. Easier said than done. It can be very, very challenging. Insightful. The genuine feedback is the key. So regardless of the level of the speaker or the level of you as an evaluator, it's not about can you dazzle with them with the best evaluation they've ever heard. It's can you give them genuine feedback based on what you heard and your understanding of the project. That's what it's all about. Giving them that feedback as the listener. It's not the only opinion, it's your opinion. So just be honest and tell them what you see and what you heard and what you feel like was good and what you feel like could help them improve. That's the key. and serve. You know, as the evaluator, you're really there for one thing in that meeting. It's to serve that speaker, to give them the specific feedback, to listen to every word that they say, to help them with evaluating how well did I meet the project requirements? How well did I meet the general speech requirements? How much am I improving in areas that I've needed to improve upon? That's what you're there for, to serve that member, to have them walk away with something, some good stuff and some things that they could improve, or maybe some different ways to try doing things, so that the next time they sit down to work on a speech project, they've got all that information and all that feedback. So that's what we're there to do. And be honest. Genuine, well-intended comments are required. You ever see people when they come to the meetings early on and they get embarrassed by, well, I had 37 ums and all that sort of stuff? We're not trying to say people's feelings, but we're not trying to hurt their feelings. We're trying to be honest. And if you gave a speech and you had 37 ums and I'm the eye counter, guess what? It's my responsibility to tell you you had 37. Being honest is the way we're most helpful. We're not trying to save people's feelings. That's not what it's about. It's not about their feelings. It's about an honest assessment of what they did with suggestions on how to improve. So we have to really embrace that if we want to help our members grow, which is what our commitment is to them. Help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow. Like with any group, any meeting, any club, if it's friendly and positive, you're attracted to it. If it's not, oh, not so much. You find yourself not wanting to go, not enjoying it. Positivity, this is absolutely the truth. I believe this. A positive environment is kryptonite to negativity. Positivity and negativity can't coexist. So which one do you want? See, as a club, you have to decide, well, we're not doing the negative thing. We're going for positive. That's going to be our default. That's going to be who we are, and embrace that, and everyone commit to that. Resonate. Think about this. People are attracted to a welcoming environment. If you go someplace for the first time and there's a bit of positive energy and engagement and people are friendly, doesn't that connect with you? Doesn't that make you want to come in? See, the thing we have to remember is very often when people come to our meeting for the first time, and it's still true online, even as it was in person, there's usually some trepidation. They're scared. They're not too comfortable. This is, out of the normal. Why in the world would I want to speak? The way we can compensate for that is by having a welcoming environment and focusing on doing that, making sure that's something we're doing, not just, yeah, we do that. No, do we really do it? Let's evaluate that. Let's make sure that happens each and every time. Growth. So the commitment to the member when they come in is, we are going to help you grow, get more comfortable at speaking and developing your leadership skills and so on. That's the commitment that we're making. So everything we do has to be consistent with that, right? So being positive and friendly, certainly it goes hand in hand with that, because they enjoy being there. They enjoy the interaction. They look forward to it. They also enjoy their opportunity to contribute and help you. And it becomes, this cyclical kumbaya, which is a really cool thing. Most of you know what it's like to be in a club and you feel like it's family. That's really the secret sauce of Toastmasters. It's not the manuals. It's not the structure. It's not the weird names for the roles. It's that you feel like you're part of something and people are there for you. That's really what makes it happen. That's what makes it fun, to my mind. This one is interesting. So, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so. Let's just be frank. How many people have either heard this or have said this themselves? I was the president because nobody else wanted to do it. I mean, I know some people are laughing right now. It's like, yeah, that's, I've been the president twice over the years because of that. Or, yeah, that's what happened in my club. I frankly never understood that. Why wouldn't you want to be the president of your club? Why do clubs have to struggle to get people to want to be officers? Now, some don't, we know, right? Some very successful, well-functioning clubs, they don't really have that issue, but a number of clubs do. And so we need to evaluate, why is that? Part of the commitment someone makes when they join our club, if we articulate it well, is this, that when it's their turn, they'll be willing to step up and serve in an officer role as well. So if that's something that in your club historically has been a challenge, getting enough officers and getting people to want to do it, I would make this a priority to make people understand, hey, when you come in here, we're committing a whole bunch of stuff to each other. And one of them is at some expected to step in and serve as an officer to support your club. I mean, people are doing that for you. The time will come for you to do it for them. It's really unfortunate when you see clubs struggling to get officers. Really, really disappointing. But it happens. So
Bill, we've lost your audio.
am I back? Can everybody
Yeah.
hear me, hopefully?
Yeah,
Hey, all right.
thanks.
Yeah, Zoom is our friend to tell us not. So you have to do your part. How about leader? As an officer, you're in a position to inspire and influence your club members. Think about that. That's a great responsibility. When people come in and they're new, they're a little nervous, they're not too sure what to do. Don't you want to be the person that says, hey, I can make them more comfortable because they know as the VP or the president, I'm there, I'm committed, and I'm going to take care of the things I'm supposed to take care of to make their experience what it's supposed to be. You can inspire people by doing that and encourage them to want to take on that leadership opportunity too, so they don't avoid it. Respond. Answering the call demonstrates your integrity. To say, hey, I want to do my part, or it's my turn, or now I owe it to the club to step up and serve. That demonstrates integrity, and people really respond to that more so than you might think. They won't come up and say to you, hey, I really respond to the fact that you were just an officer. They won't say it, but it will make a difference to people without question. To treat my fellow club members and guests with respect and courtesy. You say, well, sure, that's what we do. I know I'm not speaking for everybody, but there's a lot of you who can probably say, I've heard this before. Someone tell you a story of going into a club for the first time and nobody speaks to them, and no one greets them, nobody speaks to them before they leave, nobody gives them an agenda, right? So it's not, let's attack these people. It says, let's be perfectly honest, right? We don't default to this across the board. It's because it's not a point of awareness and it's not a priority, but it really should be. In so many ways, this is the easiest thing to do. Can you just be nice to people when you see them? I mean, it is that easy. So being genuine, that's how you connect with people, right? If someone comes up to you and they're sort of cheesy and they seem sort of fake, you're not going to want to connect with them. But if they seem like they're the real thing, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you, that kind of thing. Attract. Energy and enthusiasm win the day. I don't care what anybody says. You'll never convince me that that's not the case, especially when, remember, people come into our meeting for the first time. Part of their brain is looking for a reason to leave and never come back. So the more we greet them with that energy, enthusiasm, and excitement, the more likely they are to sort of relax and take it all in and connect and let it resonate with them.
Share your screen again, Bill.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We lost that.
Oh, okay. Thanks for telling me. Okay. Yeah, because I wouldn't have known until you told me. So that's awesome. I'm glad you're paying attention. How about anxious? Can you guys see it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Think about walking through the door for the first time. Try to remember when you did for the first time. I've asked this to people a lot when I've done various trainings. I'll say, by a show of hands, how many people drove to the Toastmasters meeting for the first time, sat in the car, didn't actually go in, and then drove away? And people kind of laugh and everything. And then I hold my hand up and they're like, it's not true. It's absolutely true. I drove in, I pulled up. Let's see what these Toastmasters people are all about. And then I watched them. Okay. And then they went in. So then what? I convinced myself, oh, well, now I've waited too late. I can't go in now. And I turned around and drove away. So everybody, to some degree, is intimidated or afraid or unsure. We have to try to remember that so that every interaction we have with them from the very beginning is encouraging and is making them comfortable. Can't overstate that. Bring guests to club meetings. We can't rely on social media and the website, right? That's not enough. If you invite people, they'll come. Say, hey, I'd love to invite you to my club. We have a good time. I think you might enjoy it. Sure, I'll check it out. I think that one aspect is easier now because like you can be at home and sitting in your pajamas and just click on, right? So you're not even asking as much. So that's easier now. The club. People join clubs and organizations for a benefit, right? Well, so are we actively as members and leaders in our club thinking about, okay, what is the benefit they're looking for now? Are we delivering that? We can't leave it to the assumption that it's happening because then it doesn't, not with consistency. Make sure that being a member stands for something. Membership is a word that has gotten diluted and kind of ruined, kind of like friends, right? Because of Facebook, nobody has 347 friends. For real. Member and membership has sort of suffered this same fate. We've really watered it down. If you're in the leadership of your club, or even if you're just an officer or a member of your club, you want to say, hey, being a member of our club should mean something. It should mean something. And if it doesn't, why doesn't it? And how can we fix it? Because it really should be something that's unique. They can't get what they get from you from anybody else. The guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters education and recognition programs. Proven. Toastmasters works. The protocols work. They do, okay? So tell people, hey, this is already land that's been cleared. Let's don't try to reinvent the wheel. This thing works. Let's just work on applying it. Adhere, the definition, one of the definitions of adhere, to be compatible or in accordance with. So when it says adhere to guidelines and rules, those guidelines are the roadmap. You'll get people telling you sometimes, well, you know, the structure of the Toastmasters meeting, it's just too formal for us. It doesn't have to be formal, but it has to be consistent. That gives your club a track to run on. So rather than trying to wonder about, well, is somebody going to execute the role correctly this week? You don't spend time on that because that's understood. You spend all your time on putting effort and energy into serving your members. And programs. Pathways been developed to assist and support members. I know in early days it wasn't user-friendly. I know there's still some people that kind of having a hard time getting it, but once it clicks for people, they're like, oh, I see. And it's awesome. So we have to constantly be advocates for that and stay positive people until such time as it clicks for them, because some people will get it faster than others, but once they get it, then they're okay. Then we can help them even more. TAC within Toastmasters core values: integrity, respect, service, and excellence during all Toastmasters activities. A commitment to shared values creates momentum. In other words, hey, I like these people. I like what they're all about. That connects to me. I want to be a part of that. Or I like being a part of that. And the core part, you got to show people what we're all about. If people come in, when I went to my first Toastmasters meeting, before it was over, it was obvious that all these different people who I could tell were all from all different walks of life, it was clear that they were definitely there without question to help and support each other. That's what you're all about. So make sure people see that and there's evidence of that, because that connects with people and makes them comfortable. When we default to excellence, good things occur, right? So if you decide, hey, we're gonna make sure we're doing all the things we're supposed to do, and we've got the commitment, our attitude, and our approaches right, good things will follow, and your club will be even more successful than it is. The Toastmasters promise: any challenge that you're or any issue, you can find the answer to it there. There's something in those 10 items that's going to give you a point of reference to address it. The question is, are you making it a priority in your club? Are you talking about it? Some clubs at the opening of every meeting will read one of the items. So that over time, they're constantly covering, hey, this is our commitment to one another. That can be a really good thing to do. But everything you deal with, good, bad, and indifferent, it's there. You just have to dive into it a little bit. So we've got a few minutes. We'll take questions and so on. You can put in the chat. If anybody would like a copy of this presentation, my email's there, my Toastmasters email. If you just email me, then I'll send you a copy of it. And if you have any questions beyond this session about it, then you're welcome to send that over too. So we can see if we've got a few questions in the chat before we go. Thanks everybody for being here. Let's see what we've got.
Bill, there was a couple people had questions about burnout. You mentioned we should serve as an officer if we're asked.
Yeah.
One member said, Look, I've been a member for 5 years. I was a charter member of the club. I've been a secretary, president, VPE. Now I'm area director. I don't want to have a officer role during the next fiscal year. I'm truly burned out. I just want to be a club member. Any advice for that?
So we know that happens, particularly in clubs that have a smaller member number. There's that handful of people that end up doing all the heavy lifting, right? They rotate through the officer roles and so on. So the most obvious answer is we've got to figure out a way to get more people in there, right? The other thing to consider is this: burnout doesn't happen like that. So someone doesn't come to the meeting this Tuesday and everything's wonderful, and literally next Tuesday, they're burned out beyond recognition. There's an interim, and in some cases, that interim can be months and even years. And in that interim, there's a lot of red flags, but is anybody seeing it, right? That's the key. So you have to look at that, say, what can we do differently? If you don't have enough members and enough people serving in the officer roles that cause you to have to keep repeating it and do all the lifting, you need to get some more members. More members, new members is the answer to so many of the ills that clubs have. That's something you want to focus on. Get some more bodies in there with the expectation that they're going to come in and contribute and support. And over time, you'll see that kind of rotating out. And you can say to people, I'm not going to be an officer this time. I'll support whomever is an officer, but this time I'm going to let other people do it and kind of force the club to step up.
Bill, one question I had is you talk about a positive environment, and that's great in an in-person meeting. How do you keep that positive environment when we're meeting online?
So our biggest challenge with the virtual is how do we replicate the energy and engagement we have in a live meeting? It's very difficult to do, but here's what we need to be careful not falling victim to. And I've seen this happen quite a bit. Because of the virtual environment and the casual nature of it, it's easy to fall away from the practices and protocols that work. So I've attended a lot of meetings where there is no Mr. Toastmaster, there's nobody clapping. It's just become so casual that we become a victim of taking our hands off the wheel. And we can't do that. We still got to have that structure that we use and those practices, because then everything happens like it's supposed to, and all of our energy is into being engaging and delivering on that role and welcoming the people and encouraging people. And if we're not doing that, then we're distracted by these other things. So renew the commitment to still meet the Toastmasters meeting protocols and procedures. They're there for a reason, because they work. When should new members be exposed to the promise? I would print it off and hand it to them when they join. Hey, by the way, this, and then you have to feature it in your meeting at some point so they understand, okay, they actually apply this to every meeting and make it part of your culture. That's the key. You have to make it part of your culture, that this is what we do. If you're not doing it, you have to start somewhere. Start reciting one bullet at every meeting. Take you 20 seconds. Yeah, that shows a commitment to it.
Someone asked, when should new members be exposed to the promise? And I think the answer should be right away.
Yeah, absolutely. If you do a guest packet that says, I would absolutely put that in there and say, oh, what's this promise stuff? Yeah. Make that impression before they even become a member. Like, okay, there's a promise I'm going to have to commit to. I know there was a club that would print it off and have the members sign it when they filled out their application. So, why not? That doesn't hurt. They're saying, hey, I'm willing to be held to this standard. That's a pretty good way to start.
Well, thank you, Bill. I think it's time for the break. And
okay.
This is recorded, should be available on the district website after this conference. And if anyone has questions, Bill gave his email and direct them directly to him. So if everyone would leave the room, return to the main room, and we have a short break before the next session. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day, guys. Good to see you.